My name is Jeanette Falk, and in the next couple of minutes, I will introduce our paper entitled 3 Design Directions for a Diversity Computing Space, which is written in collaboration with my colleagues Moritz Kubesch, Anna Blumenkranz, and Christopher Frauenberger. In HCI, there is an advancing awareness of the importance of diversity for addressing inequalities. In order to best address inequalities, we need to consider diversity in both the outcome and the process of designing technologies. In our study, we address this by exploring what has been called diversity computing, or DivComp for short, which encourages alternatives to technology that is not designed to consider the diversity of people, but frames interaction in a uniform and rigid way. Instead, DivComp suggests interactive technologies that are designed to address the diversity of people in meaningful ways. Within this framing, the goal of our research project called Diversity Computing Spaces is to explore how we might augment physical spaces with technology which is designed to meaningfully address the diversity of people who use the space and interact with this technology. As a specific setting for exploring DivComp spaces, we focused on informal in-between spaces for school children, like schoolyards or hallways. In that way, we explored spaces where diverse groups of children met and which involved complex social dynamics within and between these groups of children. The goal for our study was to better understand the children's emotional connections to the spaces of the school, how the diverse social dynamics of the children unfolded in these spaces, and what role technology may play in these contexts. We facilitated 9 participatory design workshops over 4 months with 2 school classes of 48 11 to 13-year-old children in an Austrian middle school. We planned a longer series of workshops for several reasons. As children participants may take time to trust strangers, a longer workshop series with the participants would enable us to build rapport with them. We conducted the workshops fortnightly, and this rhythm worked as a way for us to enable some experimentation in the planning of the workshop. So as we got to know the different children and their needs, we could plan our workshops accordingly. The longer workshop series also enabled us to structure activities in alignment with the standard design process. For each workshop, we had a specific theme and facilitated a range of different design activities. We collected a range of different kinds of data from the 9 workshops. We analyzed the data thematically and identified 4 themes which captured the children's experiences of topics such as how technology generally is used currently and how it might be used in the future, the children's emotional connections to the school spaces, and the children's social dynamics in these spaces. When conducting thematic analysis of our data, we began to see the themes as interconnected differences and tensions, rather than containers for single aspect and uniform themes. In other words, our approach to thematically analyzing the data became diffractive, which describes how reality produces patterns of difference. The theme Technology as Utility and Authority describes how the children saw technology as ranging from being useful tools, almost in a magical sense, to technology which can decide what is good and what is bad. The theme Individual and Collective Placemaking describes how the children developed emotional connections to places and how this happened both individually and collectively in groups. And when these placemaking practices sometimes overlapped, this would cause tensions between different children, leading to our next theme. The theme Staged and Emerging Conflicts describes how the children experienced 2 types of conflict related to the school spaces. Staged conflicts describe playful conflicts or play fighting, where the children engaged in the conflict voluntarily. Emerging conflicts describe when some children wanted to use a space for something different than what other children already used that space for. For example, there could be conflicts around who could use a single couch in a hallway, which was popular for the children to retreat to during breaks. The theme Belonging to the Group and Self-Expression describes the tension for children of daring to stand out from the crowd and express themselves, and to play it safe and blend into the group. Based on the data analysis and on insights from related research literature, we discuss the following initial design directions. In the design direction Negotiable Spaces for Retreating, we ask, how can we create private spaces in the busy school environment with technology, which enables retreats for children to relax in or pursue interests and hobbies in? And how could such spaces at the same time be designed to facilitate constructive negotiations of who can use the space? This design direction describes a DivComp space which informs children about how the space is currently used, maybe for relaxing or other activities, thereby potentially encouraging appropriate behaviors which better suit different activities and perhaps facilitate turn-taking of the space. Some of the boys explained to us how they engaged in physical fights for fun. From the research literature, this kind of play fighting or stage conflict is described as fulfilling a variety of purposes. Therefore, these stage conflicts are not necessarily something which should be prevented or suppressed or solved. However, if we introduce technology in this context, we should aim for designing technology so that it can accommodate for the ambiguity of play fighting and give way for mutually satisfactory play. The question is which role technology can play in facilitating these conflicts constructively in DivComp spaces. With the design direction Spaces Scaffolding Playful Stage Conflicts, we envision DivComp spaces designed to facilitate playful interactions in the encounters of children, where they can engage in, for example, competitions to explore risk-taking behavior, such as in play fighting, although ambiguous participation should be accommodated for. We observed some interesting behaviors among the children when we documented them using technology, such as cameras and audio recorders, spanning from skeptical hesitance towards being recorded to silly and playful clowning in front of the camera lens. This observed behavior is also described by research literature, which explain how young adolescent children are in the process of developing increased self-consciousness and peer orientation, while at the same time taking risks and seeking novelty. While this behavior was sometimes challenging during workshops and when recording data, we frame it as a potential for designing DivComp spaces. With self-conscious and peer-oriented spaces for performing, we envision DivComp spaces designed with co-creative AI systems, which explores the children's self-conscious and peer-oriented development, and which incorporate gamification strategies that focus on encouraging pro-social behavior, such as by including avatars, storytelling elements, and perspective-taking in the design. We seek to explore these 3 design directions in our future research, and we hope that they may also inspire others.